Welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to One Moon Studio. You're like our second or third interview. I am here with one of my best friends, Steve Thoreson, great opera singer, and Murphy, amazing singer-songwriter.
Thank you.
So I'm going to talk to Steve here a little bit. Steve and I go way back. We've done a lot of concerts. Steve invited me to Sweden to perform several times. And we have a group called Troupe de Ville. And about a year ago, Steve started talking about this friend of his, Murphy, and how not only is he a talented guy, but he is just a beautiful artist and human being. Tell me how you met Murphy and how the friendship developed.
Well, it was a late afternoon, and I was rolling into the city, and I was a little bit hungry, and I felt like going up to Dick's Burgers on Broadway and grabbing a burger.
Yeah.
So I pulled in, and immediately I heard this remarkable music coming from the street, and I noticed Murphy busking on the sidewalk with his guitar case open, just flooring me. I was so shocked and so impressed, and immediately forgot about the burger, went over and just listened and listened and listened. We started talking, and the more I got to know him, the more I realized, wow, this is something special. And asked him, do you have many albums? And there weren't really a lot of albums, but and it's not always easy to make that happen. And I said, well, if you got the means, I've got keys to a church 4 blocks down the street that looks like an upside down ship with the most amazing acoustics in the city. And I don't think it took us long to get him packed up, and
Just like
that
that
was it. Just like that. Headed
within
down.
an hour.
Yeah, no, seriously, it was
That's
awesome.
crazy.
It was awesome, and I lied to him, and I said, "Oh, I'm kind of a singer, and I kind of know what I'm up to," and that was it. And immediately in that church, and the acoustics and that kind of thing was just remarkable.
Do you have a recording at all of that day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an album that he made out of that event, and I believe that was some of the music that American Idol found him with on his Facebook page.
Right.
But
right.
it was, for me, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I recognized, he was a good guy with a good heart. He was real. He was authentic. You couldn't deny what you hear vocally. There's no question. No question.
Right.
And then to hear him in church and to hear him in the acoustics, and that, it was just magical.
So this church is an old 100-year-old building.
100-year-old, beautiful,
and crazy
amazing acoustics. Space.
Yeah. So what did you think of this big guy approaching you and say, "Hey, let's record"?
I thought initially that I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
When I sat down, that wasn't a very good day for me, to my knowledge, to my memory, and it was nice to have an audience. We always think that, we're thankful for an audience. But for that moment, I didn't have just an audience. I had someone that was interested in my music, and he said, I'd like to hear what else you play, and that meant a lot. That meant a lot to have somebody, especially in the middle of what we're dealing with, say, I want to hear what you have to say and sing.
Yeah.
And he gave me a place to do it. He gave me somewhere that I'd never been.
Yeah, especially if you're busking like that, it's you're bearing all to traffic, and it's hard to do that and not think about what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I imagine there's times where you really get into the music because the connection starts to happen. But while the connection isn't happening, because I've been there, when the connection isn't happening, you start thinking, what am I doing? But so you guys have become good friends. Steve was involved in a talent contest in Sweden called Sweden's Got Talent. So he knows the world of these talent contests. And you guys, you were invited to go in for American Idol. And Steve went down there with you.
Yes.
Quite a journey.
1,200 miles?
Do you guys
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that?
That was fun. It was
Down,
really,
down to LA?
yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately as we got on the road, my check engine light came on.
Oh, no.
And luckily, my best friend Mark Price, had sent us with a little electric thing you plug into the car, and if it tells you the phone what's going on. So he helped us reset a few things, and we understood we should be fine.
Yeah.
And then down we went, and it was amazing to be heading towards that end goal of Murphy going before the judges
Yeah,
on American
yeah,
Idol.
yeah.
You know, and Lionel Richie, Kim Perry, these guys. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
You know? And,
Yeah.
but I knew what I heard, and I knew they knew because they approached him.
Right.
They
Yeah.
came after him, which I thought was very appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, going through that process, what do you take away from that as a learning experience, in terms of how you perceive your art and how people in that industry perceive your art, and does it cause you to? Some people, like, I know people that sometimes they're like, okay, well, maybe I need to change this or change that, or some people are like, no, I love what I do the way I do it, and that's what I'm doing. Where do you stand in that whole frame?
I'm pretty close to the second option myself.
Yeah.
I never learned how to do it much any other way aside from my own, and
Yeah.
I figured if it's gotten me to 28, it can get me to 29, and so
Yeah.
I wasn't going to change anything. I wasn't going to try and hit some amazing high notes just to impress them. I knew what I was going in there with, and I wasn't going to change it.
Yeah.
If I could interject one thing as well. As we got down there and Murphy got set in, and they're all his fans. There's no question. The producers, the people, the sound techs, everybody loved Murph and his music.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it was very telling when the producers actually said, instead of doing a cover, we really want you to do your original music.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that was a very large compliment, I thought. And I
Right.
thought it was, again, appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love your music. When Steve introduced it, it was like listening to a few videos, and just there's so much soul and story in your voice.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you for doing what you do.
No, I'm so lucky at this stage in my life to be okay enough to keep going. I had many a thought in my life where I was just gonna be 65 and still playing guitar and maybe not have an amplifier. Maybe I'll just be down the marketplace or in the middle of Times Square, and the rain will start, and that'll be my life, and I'll be okay because I'll sing the songs that I love.
Yeah. Well, the world is yours, my friend.
It's starting to feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Amen.
So just to wrap up here. Exciting things are happening. I saw the video there, and it's possible that going back soon, maybe.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
bothered to make a compilation of all my videos, and I mean, if nothing else, they've never done this for anyone, especially someone
Right,
they've kicked
right.
off.
And
Yeah.
I will say, they love Murphy.
Yeah.
America loves Murphy. I think a lot of people were very upset that he didn't,
Yeah.
go through as I think a lot of people expected him to. And I believe that the wonderful folks at ABC are not finished with Murphy. And that's probably all anybody can say. And I think that there's more to come. And there's going to be some really fun surprises coming probably the
Yeah.
next month or so.
Perfect. Well, you deserve it. You deserve
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for everything that comes my way because it just means that I'm going to get closer to my goal. And
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the lonely soul out there that's now going to hear your music and derive some needed sustenance to keep them going from your sound. So
Know that many people have sent some remarkable, beautiful comments, feeling like they can relate, and in their pain and their loneliness, in
Yeah.
their handicap, if there's something going on with their life, where they feel that they're relating to him. And I think that's one of the highest compliments we can get as an artist.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I had someone, bare their soul to me and tell me the tragedy of their life about how they'd lost someone they loved to addiction, and that though it may not have been the same person, to the same age, to the same degree, and the same story, it resonated with them, and they were happy to have somebody that understood them and still wanted to make something good in the world. And an artist told me that they hadn't painted in months due to that loss, and then they showed me a picture that they started of me.
Yeah.
It's
that's
stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
A beautiful
Well,
picture.
I think I'm just we were gonna try to change the segment. I think I'm just gonna continue. So, based on what you're just saying there, I gathered from some other interviews that, and you can hear it in your music, that there was trauma in your early days, you know? And I'd like you to speak a little bit to how that has affected your music and what that means in terms of your understanding of the world and people. And I mean, I could just hear that. That's why people are really relating to the soulfulness and the wound, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you're in Baltimore growing up?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess paint the picture of me for the people a little bit. Like, how old were you when you first started playing music, and was it the guitar? And just paint a little picture for us.
I was a little boy, and my earliest exposure to music was just, unfortunately, I mean, my father, he was well into his addiction, and I remember sitting in the car for very, very long stints of time, and the radio was kept on. You know, I remember the old joke of keeping the TV on for the dogs so they don't get lonely, and I kind of felt like that. But I started listening to the radio, and that was my first exposure, and I just started mumbling along because it gave me something to do, and then my dad went to church, and then I found out you could sing in church. And so I started singing in church with my little child voice, and I was very happy because people were smiling, and my dad was smiling, and I started singing, and he smiled, and so it was a good start for me.
Yeah, yeah. And then, at what point did the guitar come into your life?
Not till much, much later. I hadn't gotten a guitar, and much less one in playing order. I got my first guitar at maybe 16, and it was a terrible Epiphone Hummingbird copy with nylon strings.
So, what about, had you written some songs?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So I was assuming you started playing younger. So you've had this whole 10 years has been a storm, just like a storm for you of all kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then tell me when you kind of left and hit the road, so to speak.
I can't remember the exact day and age. I mean, when I started, so when people ask me when I started traveling, I actually started traveling a little bit sooner, just going up the coast. You know, how do I, you know how you ever just step out of your neck of the woods for 5 minutes? You know, like I remember it was tax season, and I went up north, just further north into my own area, into Maryland, and I was so excited just by that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so every now and again, I just took long bus trips.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it didn't cost very much.
Right,
Because I was, I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it was my first, I need to leave. I saw something prettier than the world I'd grown used to every single day, you know, and I told myself, I'm not gonna live here. I'm not gonna stay here. Not gonna stay here. And
Yeah.
But you know, I had a job. I had to keep to at some points, and it was just, it was hard to say, you know, what do I do? Do I quit? Am I tired enough yet? It was days and days and months of asking myself, am I done yet? Am I ready to leave? And it only took losing, you know, that job, losing my place of living, and saying, you know, finally that I'm done. You know, I can't believe I worked this hard, and I still lost everything that I worked for, and
Right.
you know, I was made fun of, and that's when I said, I gotta leave. I gotta go somewhere so I can feel better. I gotta not be here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just a long struggle of figuring out exactly what made me happy, and part of that was music. You know?
Right. So you would just go from one. Where was the first city you went to where you really kind of left Baltimore?
Oh, I took a trip to New York City.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get I think it's 2 buses, pretty streamlined.
And you played there.
Yeah, and then the cops are not nice to you if you don't have licenses or something.
Yeah.
And if you look like a punk or whatever, you know. But it's just, I had a terrible nylon string guitar, but you play for a day, and I didn't make much. I didn't make almost hardly nothing. I think I lost a little money on the return trip. It was just, it felt better for half a second to do that than to be miserable and be upset. I don't know if I've rounded off your question, but if you want to know about my trauma, I'll put it plain and easy, and my music involved as well.
Yeah, no, you're definitely telling me the story. I guess at this point, I'm kind of like wondering, like, have you gone back that direction, or have you just moved out west?
I refuse to go home unless I'm visiting friends.
Yeah.
And I say home because I gained very little from living there, and I say that with admittance to who I am.
Yeah.
I found no fulfillment, no enrichment, and I found often I was accosted very physically. People would hurt me. They'd be, there was racism constantly. There was no easy way to live my life in that city.
Right.
I was never dark enough for this, never light enough for that. And so as a constant reminder that you don't belong, living in the east side ghettos of Baltimore, and, every day you don't belong. Every day you go to work, you don't belong. And so I just said, I got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Isn't that how, in life, it's, that we have classism, we just do. And you take a candle, and your music is a light, and the more that it's a light, it's going to elevate you, and it is, and it's happening.
Thank you.
Deservedly.
Yeah.
The easiest way I've ever learned to explain my music is this: I was never given honesty, and it took years to ever get the truth about who I was, where I came from, and what happened in my past that I never knew because I was young. And so I figure, if it takes this long for life to be honest with me, I can at least be honest with myself and sing earnestly. I don't care if it hurts; it has to be there for a reason. And if it comes to me in the form of song, I'll let it be that. And luckily, it's been that for every instance where I felt I could heal.
Yeah.
So I sing.
Yeah. I have a question about your songwriting. Are you going through a phase, or have been in this phase, where just songs are always coming to you? Is it kind of like a faucet, or it's just constant, or is it kind of once in a while? Or tell me a little bit about that in terms of how the songs are coming to you.
So as far as the way the songs are coming to me, they are kind of constant.
Yeah.
I believe that they will be, and so they are. And I never feel uninspired, and as much as I'd wonder someday if ever I'd have writer's block, I grab my guitar, I change the tuning, I sit down and breathe a little different and sing a little different for half a second, and then it's there again. That spark that says, hi, I'm here.
Right. Does the music, do the words come to you first, or is it the music coming first, or all together, or how does that process work for you?
I have so many songs that are very much off the cuff, nothing is planned. I have a couple songs up on YouTube from Halloween that are entirely scary stories written out, in my head, but I made them up on the spot.
Yeah.
And I say, I have a concept. My process is, I always make a concept. It's like a writing practice. I think of a genre like maybe jazz, and then I think of the topic. It could be something like chicken nuggets if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And then I think and I write, and in that moment, whatever it is, jazz to me will be what that song is. And if it's worth keeping, I'll remember it for that. And if it isn't, then I'm glad I had it.
Yeah. So you have some beautiful instruments that you just showed me this. Tell me about this instrument Tell me a little bit about this instrument here. It's so beautiful.
This instrument is it's a resonator, and it's in a smaller parlor form. These guitars are known across the world for being used in Hawaiian music and jazz in some corners. Before amplifiers became more known and able to be accessed, these guitars were used to help keep guitarists in and possibly above the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's loud, and this is loud and warm.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a baritone, so it's a nice low sound, and for the smaller body, I'm amazed at what it puts out.
Yeah. So you're going to do a little mini concert for us, and you're going to play this one, I hope.
Sure, I don't mind. I'll play some blues on that one.
Okay. I was going to ask you.
I mainly brought that for you to play.
I was going to ask you. Speaking of genres, what would you say your music is? Would it fall under blues?
It's a cross between soul and folk.
Soul and folk. Okay.
Yeah, it's as easy as I've ever learned to put it down, because it always roots back to those pauses and those breaths that is always in soul music that demand emotion, and yet I ask for some sort of constant nature to my music, and that's where the folk comes in. That's constant backbeat if I can help it, or bass notes that alternate like the old bluegrass pickers would do. But
yeah. Well, you remind me of an old soul, and you remind me of like an American that I would have met 70 years ago or something like that, And one last thing, you guys have something in common, and that is a heart for the homeless. And maybe you can both speak to that a little bit, because I saw that you want to open a homeless shelter.
very much so.
Yeah.
It's my biggest dream in life is to, if I can, as soon as I can, help facilitate more shelters for the homeless, because there are too many people, as much as everyone likes to assume, there's too many people that have just had a hard life, whose hands don't work the same, whose minds can't be as strong as they were when youth had them at hold. And to see those people shoved aside by society because they're an inconvenience, or they're not worth it, or whatever mundane excuse you can give to shun the light in someone's eyes that should still be there. That should still make them want to wake up, and it just takes a little bit of love, somewhere to sleep, some food, and that's not too much to ask or give.
Exactly.
We at my church, this is where we did the recording. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, they're serving hot box lunches. Now, pre-COVID, you were invited in, big hall. We had a piano. Sometimes there was music, but where we're at today, we're not doing that. But we are feeding people 5 days a week, and that's one of the things, as we've talked about, dreams and goals that's realistic, would be to try to help partner with them, as the city is attempting to partner with the church, and to put in a shelter in the basement, or maybe a rest stop where people can sit down and have a shower, wash their clothes, feel human. Just for 10, 15, 20 minutes to feel human again.
It's completely feasible.
It's all doable.
Definitely.
It's all doable.
Well, hanging with Steve, as you know, there's many times where we're not going to go from point A to point B. Steve is going to stop and help this person that's sitting there asking for money. He's going to go to a store and buy some food and some water and spend some time talking to them. And so you guys both have that
same guy.
Beautiful mission, and we need more people like that.
I got a small story for you.
Yeah.
So I remember this happens every winter, every fall, and doesn't matter where I am. So I do okay in the wintertime. People respect a musician that works out in the cold, and I usually do okay enough to make my bills. And sometimes I do a little better. One time I made a little more money, and I was able to buy a couple of pairs of gloves and a couple of those little air-activated hand warmers. And you do what you can. I can't believe at that one point, at many points similar, I said I have enough to give. There weren't many points where I could finally say that, and now all the more. And now I can use my platform and the growth that I've found in this adventure and many others to keep fostering that, to keep fostering this belief that you don't need a lot to do a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say we had a fun night several weeks ago, and I made a large pot of soup.
Oh, yeah.
And we filled up those to-go coffee cups full of soup, and we hit the truck. We went up to Broadway, and Murph handed out soup out the window up and down Broadway until it was all gone.
My biggest pride was not spilling a single drop.
Not at all. We did it. But it was.
That's great.
It was fun.
That's great. Well, when we're able, the three of us, we should figure out how to do a concert that involves the homeless.
I'd love
An
to.
event, you know, that gives them the joy of music. Well, thank you guys. This has been great. Yeah.
It's been wonderful talking with you.
Yeah, this is awesome, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still digesting it as
It's
it were.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, and we are in a future show. We are going to hear the incredible voice of Mr. Thoreson here. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it
It's my pleasure, and I'll see you around.
for sure.